Donald Trump has company in the top tier. He is now tied with Ben Carson in Iowa. This according to New Monmouth University poll. And Carly Fiorina taking the next spot. Isn't that funny? She may not even be in the next debate. Extraordinary that CNN may not have her in there. To Charlie Gasparino now on more signs that voters want a D.C. outsider.
Carson, go back to the emergency room.
That's Donald Trump.
Go back to the emergency room, Carson. Go back to Univision.
What about this, though? It shows that Americans don't like the establishment. And the establishment doesn't like Donald Trump.
You know, now we should point out that Iowa is an anti-establishment state, particularly in the Republican, I guess they're caucuses, right? Primary, whatever it is. So, you know, that primary often favors anti-establishment. But what's interesting is the national polls are starting to suggest that where anybody branded as establishment, like Jeb Bush, barely is really on life support right now. And what I'm worried about, not worried, but Scott Walker should be worried about falling into that same category. Whoever thought that a guy that, you know,
even though Scott Walker's never been inside the Beltway,
right, and not only that, he took on like the unions, and he survived 3 recall events. But he's starting. You can hear it among a lot of, you know, you hear it, you see it in the polling, and I talk to a lot of establishment people on the street that give money when they're trying to figure out who they're going to give the money to in the end. He's starting to get branded with that Jeb Bush taint of being way too establishment, Wall Street, not being able to appeal to the base. Well, he does share with Jeb Bush a characteristic that a lot of people have criticized, that he doesn't have pizzazz. I mean, when you're on stage with Donald Trump, you automatically look about 10% slower than you normally are, because Donald Trump is so revved up. And that's why a lot of Republican people, money guys here in New York, believe in their heart Donald is a Hillary plant. I know you don't think that. Cavuto.
I didn't say I didn't think. Look, I think
Cavuto doesn't think that, but I'm telling you,
probably the Clintons wanted to cover all bets, and if they could convince Donald to come in and make trouble. But here's the difference.
We're not talking Hillary Clinton here.
No, but Donald.
Because you know why? You know why? Because of one guy.
Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, though, and this is why Hillary Clinton, if she did set him up, and if Bill Clinton set him up, they may rue the day, because he may be the Republican nominee.
Yeah, the other thing is Donald will turn on. He may
make it. And if it's Donald against Hillary, who wins?
I don't know, but Donald will turn on them in a second. That's the whole thing. I don't know why they trusted him. No, he's
well, wait a minute. Who's more trustworthy, the Clintons or Donald Trump?
Well, Donald.
You can't answer the question.
No, I said Donald by a mile.
You think Donald's more trustworthy
than the Clintons?
But you just said that Donald will turn on the Clintons.
He will, because when he sees the ability to take the White House is real, he may turn on
Don't you think he's tasting it right now?
You know,
he sees these crowds of 20, 30,000 people.
You could tell he's lapping it up every 5 minutes. Listen, I think he's brilliant for a lot of reasons. I think he's brilliant because he's a brilliant businessman. He's a guy that I admire his resilience. He was worth negative back in 1992, and now he's worth positive in the billions. And he's taken a brand and he's pushed it higher than anybody else. And now, without spending a dime, and I'm talking about I'm sure he's fueled his jet, but without spending real money, he's number one.
Quick question. We just have 20 seconds. Is Donald ever going to sign this no third-party pledge?
Well, we'll know whether he's a plant or not. If he signs the pledge, then he's a plant. He's not a plant.
He's not a plant.
But
will he sign it, do you think?
I have no idea. But, you know, here's the practical reason. Donald hates spending money. Yeah. You know, it takes a lot of money to run a third party.
Ross Perot spent $100 million. Do you think Donald Trump would spend $100 million running for president?
Donald is not going to spend. Donald hates spending money. I'm telling you.
Got to leave it there.
Except for on his hotels and golf courses.
Charlie Gasparino, good to see you, Charlie.